Have you been trying to navigate the tech sales job market with no success? Looking for a mentor but struggling to find the right one? Meet Esther Ayorinde-Iyamu, founder and CEO of GrowthQ. She has mastered the art of building meaningful connections and driving career growth. From the sidelines to the boardroom, Esther's journey is nothing short of inspiring. Listen as she shares how she broke into tech, built a thriving business, and now helps others land their dream roles. If you find any value from this, go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring the bell as it helps the channel grow. Now let's dive into the conversation. Esther, it's such a privilege to have you on the show. How are you feeling this day?
I am doing well. Can't complain. It's evening here in Dubai, but loving it. We're excited.
Well, I'm excited to have you as well. And this is going to be a great conversation. We're going to peel back the onion, talk about all that you've done, and then we'll dive deeper into some areas wherever it sees fit. But first thing I want to ask, for those who don't know you, from a high level point of view, who is Esther and all the things that you got going on right now?
Yes, yes, no, of course. I love when people ask this question because people first get into their profession immediately. Um, but I like to go with it. Look, I'm a really curious person that loves to solve problems.
Mm.
I'm a wife, I'm a dog mom, I'm a future human mom, a sister to two incredibly famous and amazing individuals, a daughter to powerful parents, um, and founder of an incredible company that is called GrowthQ.
Yeah, you're pretty famous in your own right. And let's pause and say congratulations, future mom. This is a big news, so I'm definitely happy to hear that for you. This is
Yeah,
exciting.
definitely not a pregnancy announcement, but I am manifesting. I am manifesting my husband and I starting our family, which we're really excited about doing.
That is awesome. And so speaking about starting off, your career started off in a different place than I thought. I was like, wow, she was a cheerleader? How did you get into that field?
Well, to be fair, my career started out with cheer, but then coincided with tech. So
Oh.
I happened to stumble into auditioning for my first ever NFL team at like 18 years old. If you're familiar with
Mm.
a comedian by the name of Angela Johnson, she is wicked, rockin'. We used to go to church together when we were kids. We also were on a dance team as kids. And she had made the Oakland Raiders and then was like, Esther, I know we're loving this hip hop dance crew, but you got to try this. I think you would love it. I was like, sure, you're older than me. Whatever you say, I'm going to go do because you're like goals in my eyes. Auditioned for my first team, didn't make it. Eventually
Mm.
made the San Francisco 49ers. And then, several years later, while in that profession, I happened to have a parallel career in technology as well.
Wow. And that must have informed your technology because here's the thing, being rejected from anything is hard.
Yeah.
How did you handle that rejection, I should say, and channel it into the work that you did getting into the tech field?
Yeah. I wish more people talked about the rejections more than like the wins. I feel like social media in general talks about, oh my gosh, here are all the wins that happened. And it's great. We love seeing people win. We also learn a lot from people's mistakes. And if I think of, the NFL and NBA teams that I've auditioned for, my God, I think the number was something like eight, nine teams that I've auditioned for, and I only made three. No one talks about the fact that like I auditioned for like all the teams and only made three of those teams. But I think there's a lot um, that comes in that rejection, right? Like resilience comes in that rejection. Also, there's lessons in the rejection that you can take and learn for yourself. Just like if you were going and pitching for funding and you get rejected by the investor, typically they give you pretty good feedback that's very real. If ever a customer or an investor doesn't give you money or does give you money, that is like the most authentic um, type of feedback you can get, right? And so, any rejection it's a sign of resilience, but also an opportunity for gold, like feedback, which is gold.
I love that. I love the way you presented that because I think a lot of times we do try to forego that experience of rejection because we don't want to experience that. We're human beings. We don't want to experience that pain, but it actually leads us to progress. And it was going with the terminology progress. You progressed from dancing and you went into, it seems like tech all the way. Where was that decision to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be pursuing technology all the way. I'm gonna probably step away from dancing. What was that moment?
Yeah, so I had when I was recruited into the technology company I worked for 16 years, awesome company, Cisco. Um, Prior to that, I had danced with the San Francisco 49ers for 2 years while in college. And they had moved, the Cisco had asked for me to move to a whole different state, actually cross country. And so I realized I couldn't keep doing, I couldn't keep cheering for the 49ers if I wasn't going to be in the Bay Area. So that was a good, easy break. Hey, I'm graduating school. I'm leaving the Bay Area. Sorry, can't cheer for the same team. I did think about auditioning for a team. At the time the training program for Cisco was in North Carolina, Raleigh-Durham. I did think about auditioning for local NFL and NBA teams there, but they were all in Charlotte, which is about 2 hour drive away. And so I just made the decision. Look, if we're gonna take the break, this is the time we're gonna do it. After that 1 year in North Carolina with new tech company, I then moved to Los Angeles, which, whether I danced with a pro team, a pro NFL team or not, that was the dance mecca is in Los Angeles. If you're going to dance for anybody back, anybody on stage or anywhere, Los Angeles is the place to do it. So I did get to enjoy dancing in the industry a bit while I was there, but I also then started what would be the next 5 years of dancing in the NFL and NBA while in tech, because I'd made the Los Angeles Clippers while I was there in LA and did one more year with the Niners from Los Angeles.
Wow. Wow, wow. And so you did not just transition into technology, you transitioned to sales,
I
from what I
did.
can see. And when you do sales, man, that really does inform a lot of your life in regards to the skill set you learn, how you're able to leverage that for business use. Can you kind of dive a little bit deeper into your experiences working specifically in tech sales? And then we
Yeah.
can lead that into how that informs your business today.
Yeah, I think the if I look at God, if I look at my entire career, I say all 19 years has been selling, frankly. But carrying a quota at a big tech company, I did it for about 12 years. And part of that as an individual contributor, part of that as a manager. Um, but I tell you, there were a lot of lessons learned from that I can apply now today as an entrepreneur, hands down. From qualifying an ideal customer to understanding where geographically is the right place where your customer can leverage your product or service or offering, to really digging down into the entire funnel process from top of funnel to just visibility and awareness of who you are and why you're doing what you're doing, all the way down to the steps of the nurture process, down to conversion, why they converted, and how you keep them staying there so they renew again. That entire learning process has a language to it, has science behind it. And I'm incredibly grateful for my years of technology sales because I probably wouldn't have gotten that perspective to then put that and apply it to my business.
Wow. Yeah, and I think that it could be said a lot of times, again, and that's a business that's all about rejection as well.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
the just looking at that and the way you frame that, it really kind of puts in perspective for the person because somebody thinks like let's stay on this topic of rejection. A lot of people may look at yourself and other people that are doing business for themselves and they're like, man, you guys are overnight success. Can we talk about the myth of the overnight success in one way, in two ways? One, that it happens, that it's overnight, and two, that you do it by yourself. There's a team, the support system behind that. Can we talk about those two subjects?
Oh my gosh, there are no such thing as overnight successes. I'm sorry. I don't know who said what. It's all a lie. It is absolutely a lie. Um, anything that happens in my life today is a culmination of 40 years of lessons, failures, rejections, acceptances, wins, starting over again, losing everything, gaining it all back and being on the top, losing it all again. All of those lessons all compound together to add to whatever successes or new failures that you get to experience. So, no, there are no overnight successes. And I would even challenge anybody who thinks someone else, oh my God, that person's made it and they're so successful, especially the ambitious ones, they would probably feel like they haven't made it and they're actually at the bottom and they've still got so much more to learn and they've still got so many places to grow. I personally feel like there's so many more places that I can learn, grow. There's lots of mistakes I continually make, and it's an evolving journey, quite frankly. But there's never any like overnight success. You've made it, and here you go. All you had to do was this one thing, and now you make $100 million. There's nothing like it. It's not real. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. And can you talk about the team that supported you along the way? I know you mentioned your parents have been a huge support. You
Yeah,
have some siblings as well, and others in your corner. Can you talk about those support systems?
yeah, of course. It always takes a village. Look, I would say for GrowthQ, for example, you see a lot of me on social media and on our site and our podcast and stuff. But, at a time we had 7 people on our team. We've got myself, my co-founder, we've got our product lead, we've got our CFO, we've got a team of 7 investors who, by the way, um, you've got several of them who are women, you've got several of them who are black, you've got several of them who have been in sales and understand the challenge. You've got some who are like, I've not been in sales, I'm not black, I'm not a woman, but I want to see this changed and I want to invest in how we can make technology sales more equitable for all. Um, and I'm incredibly proud of that. We've also got a team of like advisors, several of them, official and unofficial, who in the back end are connecting, pushing us, opening doors, connecting us to new people, you name it. Not to mention our, 800 plus members in our community who are all part of the GrowthQ team. You go to some of these folks' profiles, they wear their mentor status with pride on their LinkedIn profile. They like, recommend their friends. They come in here to recommend each other for roles. Like they coach each other, they mentor each other, they push each other in rooms that their peers probably couldn't get into if it wasn't for them. And it takes a village, and I'm incredibly proud to continue to cultivate that village within GrowthQ, to be honest.
Yes, it takes a village, and the village that supports GrowthQ is helping it soar to new heights. And oftentimes changes come with that. And so I want to talk about how you, GrowthQ, are changing the game. And for those who don't know, just give I guess, your best summary of GrowthQ, how it came to
Yeah.
be, and yeah, let's dive into that.
Yeah, of course. So GrowthQ is an AI-powered career navigation platform. Today, we match people in technology sales to jobs and to mentors, period. And tomorrow, we'll be connecting people in our community to jobs, to mentors, to micro communities, to speaking opportunities, to you name it, to continue to ensure that everyone has an equitable opportunity to continue to earn as much as they can in this profession. We're incredibly passionate about that. I've certainly seen within my career that you can do incredibly well in this profession. I think you and I talked about it, Joseph, when we first met. Like I made my first 6 figures at 21 in this profession and my first million by 30. Everyone should have access to that opportunity if their skill sets and their ambition drives them there. And that's really what we're focused on doing.
Now I'm listening to my audience. I hear them in the back of my head. They're saying, "What about me, though? I'm brand new. I'm just transitioning from another career, another industry. Is growth Q for me? And could I see success?"
Yeah. That's a great question. I think the one thing that I have learned in this 3-year journey with GrowthQ is not to try to prescribe what I think GrowthQ should be for our community and actually tell what it has been. And so, what I will say is within our community, if you look at just the community itself, they have an average of 10 and a half years of experience. So, in technology sales. And so, across the community, it's not for the early career person. It's not for, if you would look at just the community itself, it's not for the person just entering and trying to compete with the person that has 10 and a half years of experience for that same job on the platform. However, where I have seen also happen is an influx of those who are transitioning from other sales professions into tech and those that are maybe earlier in career into tech but need a little guidance, really leveraging our community and our mentorship platform. Like we had a guy in the community literally yesterday. Oh my gosh, I just got a really great interview at Oracle. It's an SDR position. How should I be positioning myself? I already have some years of SDR experience, but how should I be positioning myself? Immediately, hey, there's an SDR manager in the community. He's currently a GrowthQ mentor. He works at Oracle right now. He can give you the blueprint sidebar to get you prepared for that interview. That happens in our community all the time. Another example is we've got obviously our mentorship platform where you can go onto the GrowthQ website and you can search through things you're looking to work through and find the mentor that you, let's say, don't know that might have the expertise that can help you. And we had mentees over the weekend, really looking for that skill set, going in and directly booking with people they've not met. Think about the courage that has to take for the mentee to connect and schedule time with somebody. But there are mentors on the platform that really care and they block out time on their calendar and make it available because they want to invest in the talent to make sure, hey, look, somebody did it for me. I want to give it back to somebody else.
I love that. I love that. This is where that community aspect comes in, what you mentioned earlier. And I think that there's a lot that could be said about having a community come together to kind of not just prepare for specific events, but also just career maneuvering. You might just say, "Hey, listen, I am in a place that I like, but I feel like there's more that I can do. What should I do?" And that's where mentorship really plays a huge part. Now, I'm gonna throw this out here a little bit too, because some people are looking. They hear the news articles, they see this company laying off 1,000, this company laying off a certain percentage of their workforce. What can you say to those people that have a little bit of a fear or a little bit of apprehension in entering into the tech space at this particular time?
Yeah. Look, job interview and job security anxiety is a very real thing right now in this changing market. You've got a lot of change and disruption happening in the market, just in the financial markets. Um, there were several countries around the world that had elections over the last 18 months. Several countries. And so there's a lot of disruption happening in the world right now that's affecting economies, that's affecting how companies in those economies tr- you know move around in the world and evolve, which then affects workforces and the people that work at those companies or could work at those companies. So there's a lot of disruption happening in the world. I actually put out a post on our on GrowthQ's social media around job interview and um, insecurity, anxiety, and how to really curb that. But what I will say is, I think the opportunity here is to start focusing on where sales professionals could really win. There are certain industries that are getting really tight and having to squeeze, right? Because they've been fat for a very long time. Think of a piece of steak. You've got like parts of it that's real fatty, you've got parts of it that has the meat. And there's been some industries and companies that have been able to kind of hide away the fat for a really long time. That unfortunately in these markets, they have no other choice but to get incredibly lean and laser focused on either sustaining or continuing to grow. But there are industries that are growing significantly. Obviously, AI being one of them. But not a lot of people talk about the industries around it that are also growing like crazy. Number one, data centers. And I don't mean data center infrastructure because that's always been there and will continue to grow. The NVIDIAs, the networking companies of the world, the security companies of the world. But the data center providers, the Equinox, think of those companies that have to provide either data center services or data centers as a service for companies that just need to expand and grow and do not have the capacity themselves. Think of, AI companies that are building their own models that need to spin up GPU farms that couldn't before. Like they just, not even that they couldn't before, but they can't go and make a grandiose investment to build their own data centers for now until they figure out how their models are going to continue to grow. And so they need to take advantage of um, companies that offer GPU farms or offer up data center space or things like that. So I would say number one is that. Number two, we've got a huge power consumption challenge as it relates to AI. So think about your power grids, think about your energy saving companies, your sustainability companies, companies that really help other technology companies assess, evaluate, and hone in their energy and climate um, consumption, quite frankly, right? Like how they're showing up, particularly when it relates to ESG. Those companies are going to see, and if they aren't already seeing, a significant surge, of which they're going to need salespeople to go and sell that to tech companies that need them. And then the third thing I would say, and this has not changed, I would say over the last 2 years, has been um, in companies that are leveraging or expanding with AI in other industries that haven't necessarily leveraged tech as regularly, fintech, health tech, um, um, uh, construction. My God, all the incredible things that Autodesk, for example, is doing. Wind, water, infrastructure and roadways. A lot of those companies are going to be um, they're going to need technology. They're going to need great communicators who can bridge the gap between where they haven't leveraged technology before and now they're going to have to leverage a lot of technology to continue to grow. So I would say there's significant opportunity if the person's ambitious enough and curious enough to want to grow into industries that aren't the like stuff you just see on TV, the first SaaS company you see or the big five that are cutting a lot of jobs right now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's one thing about the technology field. There's so many different companies out there, some that people don't even know about, that are making huge splash and waves, especially in the space when it comes to AI. And and just to kind of you just kind of touched on it as well. Do you feel that, and this is of course of your personal opinion, but do you feel that AI really is going to disrupt the the tech industry in regards to taking away jobs such as sales jobs, software engineer jobs? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you've heard the cliche thing already that, AI isn't going to take away jobs from humans, but it will replace humans that don't use AI with humans that do use AI. That is very true, but there's a little thing called agentic AI, where they are actually agents that take on functional roles, completely automated, so it doesn't need human intervention. Those will take over jobs. I repeat, those will take over jobs. And in fact, we use them significantly within GrowthQ, and we're able to reduce our employee count at the company today. Um, you know, Zuckerberg has mentioned they plan to cut lower level engineering jobs and just replace them with AI agents. So AI will definitely take away some jobs that do exist today, but they'll certainly create jobs that did not exist. And that is no different than history, right? So yeah.
Yeah. And with that being said, we're coming closer to the end, but I wanted to just say before we even close out here, thank you for your time, Esther, and insight. It is extremely, extremely valuable, and I know that the audience are. They're not to write down notes right now. They're going to be writing down some notes in the replay, for sure. But what I wanted to add to that conversation, or just another question I wanted to add, is in regards to growth Q. Where do you see, no pun intended, growth Q growing and becoming in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think that question should be split into two. I think if you look at technology sales as a profession, um, I think that those roles will continue to grow. Um, as industries around the world continue to expand and grow, we're finding new open AIs all over the place. You saw with DeepSeek, you're seeing with Grok, you're going to see others with Mistral here in EMEA. You're going to see so many other AI technology companies come up out of nowhere, and they're going to need um, go-to-market professionals who can bridge the gap between, wow, you solve a really good problem. How do we get that into the people that have the problem? Even past what you could see as a technology builder, get that in the hands of the customers who could have that problem or have a parallel problem that you could solve with your technology. That's going to be needed no matter what. And so I think that's going to continue to grow, in my opinion. I think it will shift. I think there will be some aspects of, I think, of the hierarchy of sales professions, right? All the way up to your CRO, to your enterprise sales professional who does more B2B um, selling, very different than your maybe very transactional salesperson, all the way down to your sales development rep or SDR, who's doing a little bit more um, task oriented work to open up the opportunity for a further sale. I think some of the work across the board is going to be automated and will change, and the roles will look different with AI, in my opinion. So that is what I think will continue to grow and evolve. In terms of GrowthQ, we're an early stage startup. And transparently, we've not gotten to product market fit yet. Like, I will admit that, publicly. And so I think given that, we're going to continue to evolve as we learn from our users, from the market, and as we see how the problem we're trying to solve evolves as well.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you know what? I want to do one more thing. I think I'm going to ask you if you have any last or parting words you want to leave with the audience as they are now trying to figure out and transition or even grow and scale in their career. Any
Yeah.
last words you want to give them?
Oh my gosh. And Joseph, I really appreciate the fact that you hit me up at the conference that we met up and invited me to be part of this conversation. And you could see when we first met, like, I'm incredibly passionate about making sure people get the opportunities that you and I have been able to have, right? And continue to open doors because somebody did that for you and I, right? So I would say three major things. Number one, I hate it, but it's all about who you know. Get into communities, get into fellowship with other peers who are trying to solve what you're solving and they're learning so you can all learn together. Um, like, it's all about who you know. So network like crazy, get into communities. If GrowthQ can help you do that, sign up, become a member. You automatically get added to our WhatsApp community to be able to connect with others across the globe. Number two, um, it's not. hmm, it's not only about who you know, but it's also about what you know. And I have learned a lot from incredible mentors and coaches who have gone before me, experienced it, and then come back and taught me about the I'm saying milestones, but that's not the word. The mines that I want to avoid. Yeah. And so get some mentors, get some coaches. GrowthQ helps with that with technology sales coaches and mentors on the platform. Each session, you get an hour with an already experienced technology sales professional that you searched out and sought out for 150 bucks. And at times we run promos on that to where they can be even a fraction of that. And so I would certainly encourage you, get a mentor, we've got a platform that is available. If you go to our blog, we also list out the top 20 other mentor matching platforms that are even outside of tech sales. So if you're not into tech sales and you want something else, whether it's marketing or tech or engineering, check out that blog on our website and get in there and get some mentorship. People want to support you. And then the last thing I would say is get authentic with who you are and what you want to do. Because there's always opportunity out there. There's always jobs out there. Like the jobs market is going to continue to be the job market, and hundreds of thousands of jobs will be posted on all of these sites every year. What you got to be really authentic about is what you're good at, who you are, and what you want in your career or what you want to be doing. And you got to get really authentic and really clear and really crisp about that to make sure that all those people I told you about, your mentors, your coaches, your community, they are pushing the right opportunities your way, not just any job, but the ones that you're going to thrive in. And that really happens when you get real with yourself about what you want to do and what you're passionate about.
And that was it. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Techniche Tips. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. So whenever new content drops, you'll be the first to know. Here are a few other videos that I believe you will find to be valuable. And until next time, I hope to see you on the other side.